Lewis Black, a man who is not afraid to say, or yell, or shout, or rant whatever is on his mind.
It's cold!
Lewis Black's comedy is fueled by genuine outrage at the lunacy of American society.
There should be 3 levels of security. Jesus Christ! God damn it! Me!
All right, my man was born and raised in and around Washington, D.C. His mom worked as a teacher in an all-black high school, and his old man was a mechanical engineer with a passion for the arts. Now, it was Lewis's dad that introduced him to the theater, and Lewis planned on spending his life as a playwright. So he did his undergrad at UNC, go Tar Heels, went to Yale for drama, then in the 80s he moved to New York City, where he wrote and directed for the stage. Now, Lewis would often MC before his plays, and the next thing you know, people are laughing at the stuff he's saying, so he's thinking, I gotta do some stand-up comedy, and Lewis Black became a regular on the New York comedy scene. Eventually, he caught the eye of some Hollywood producers. He made some appearances in movies like Woody Allen's Hannah and Her Sisters. Then in 1997, Lewis got his big break. He scored a segment called Back in Black on a little TV program known as The Daily Show.
Hey, I'll tell you what pisses me off. Sex.
Those appearances have made Lewis a star. Since then, he's had his own comedy specials, released a bunch of records. He even actually won a Grammy for Best Comedy Album. That was for his work called the Carnegie Hall Performance. These days, Lewis has his own show entitled The Root of All Evil. Everybody, please say hello to Lewis Black. How are you?
I'm good.
Nice to see you. Good to have you on the show again.
Good to be back.
So where are you going to be in next Tuesday?
I'm going to be on a plane. Mm-hmm. I'm going to vote, and then get on a plane and fly to Phoenix. And then, depending on what the score is, I may be flying up here.
This is it, right? I mean, everybody said if Bush won a second time, they're coming to Canada, but now they're saying if McCain wins, we're coming to Canada.
Well,
right?
Bush, it wasn't as, the level of psychosis had not been reached. Now it's like, with Bush, it was like, you know, when you didn't have, when they first came up with stereo,
right,
and the kind of sound you got, and now it's like, now the sound is too loud. You can't even stand it in the room.
Will you have some kind of election night party, or will you sit to watch all this stuff?
Maybe. I mean, once again, it depends. Depending if it goes the wrong way, I could be in a tub with some wine and some razor blades. No, I'm literally trying to avoid watching them. I'm trying to come into Phoenix about the time that they announce it, so I don't have to sit through any of that. Don't watch. I've done that too many times in my life. It makes me sick. Oh, we don't know. And you listen to those pundits.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just gotten to the point now, literally, I feel like there's like 8 to 12 people telling me what the hell I'm supposed to be thinking every time there's a discussion of, and you know, can you imagine what it's going to be like that night? Every unemployed jackass blogger will be on some station somewhere blathering about what they think all these numbers mean.
Right.
And it's pretty simple.
You know what's funny? I spent the last summer in the States, and when I was there, I saw all these signs everywhere, and it had Obama's face, and it said hope. And hope was the word. It wasn't the word change, it was the word hope. And I saw hope everywhere, and I wondered, do people actually feel that way? Do you actually feel that way?
Kids do.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually talk about this in my act, that the kids, that's the big attraction to kids, because you haven't heard any, there hasn't been a politician who's used that word in forever. As a matter of fact, McCain and Hillary both forgot the word existed. And that was better than you're giving me. Seriously. That was seriously, I would expect here in Canada that you would laugh at that. I would expect in my country kind of the mostly sad response, because that's just like that's mean. But nothing, I'm a little appalled. And just so you know. Just so you know. So
they forgot the word existed?
They forgot the word existed.
Right.
And then hope is great for kids, but I'm 60, and I don't care about hope.
Do you remember when
hope's passed me by?
Do you remember when the first time your hope was crushed?
Oh yeah. Let's start at what? Right after. First time I went to work for the government. And I was working in the Nixon administration by accident. You took a civil service test. And so I ended up working at it was an anti-poverty agency at the time, and which doesn't exist anymore because there's no poverty in America. And,
all fixed. Everything works.
Yeah, so it was for Appalachia. It was the Appalachian Regional Commission, and that was the first time when I was in there and realized, wow, I'm here. I'm in this office. I can make a difference. Mm-hmm. No, none whatsoever. Basically, I didn't come in with a tie. I didn't wear a tie to kind of shake things up, and then by the end they had a tie around my neck, and I was close to being in the bathroom going like that. So it was that was the first time, and then I went into theater, and theater's just a place. If you're really looking to get crushed, if you want your spirit really seriously, if you want to test just how much your spirit can take, go into theater. Any level of it, just any of it.
Did your dad introduce you to theater?
My father took me to see plays when I was a kid, starting when I was like 12.
You know, with people talking about Obama, the first black president, not counting Bill Clinton, the first actual African-American president to run in this position, I was looking back at your life and your childhood. Your mother was a teacher at an all-black school, right?
Yeah.
When you were a kid.
Yes.
What kind of stories did she tell you about? Because that wasn't that long ago.
No, and it was, she was it was like, I was really young. I mean, this was really early on. She'd been teaching there in the late 50s, and I'm not sure if it was completely, I think it was segregated because it was Washington. And she taught in there, and what she was trying to do was teach practicals in terms, she was teaching math. So instead of teaching straight up math, she would take them on field trips and say, you were going to a store, you have $50, what would you buy that would add up to $50? And she'd teach math that way. So, and then of course, give them, my mother's like consumer maven, so she's giving him tips, and she's taking him to the place we shopped, irregular stores, places where the crotch comes down to here. But so she really did that kind of thing, but the powers that be in D.C. didn't like. You better do it in a classroom, and they're, what are you doing? And this is wrong. And she just said, I don't need this, and walked away. To raise me.
To raise you. I think she did just fine. This summer you just turned 60. Yeah. And you're working it into your act. Are you the kind? Some guys love turning 60. Do you love turning 60?
No, it was horrible.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you have a breakdown?
No, I didn't have a breakdown. Nothing so interesting. I locked myself up and did blow for 3 days.
Saw there come on 25-year-old hookers all there.
It's hell! No, I didn't have a breakdown. I mean, that I didn't have, because my friends wouldn't let me do that. You probably have friends like that. It's like, no.
You're fine.
You're going to be good. And a lot of people say 60 is the new 40, and guess what that is? That's bullshit. That's really, it's not even close. But I've adjusted to it because I believe that being 60 is what I've become as two 30-year-olds who stand around and discuss my problems.
Why don't you like being 60?
I just don't like the old thing. Even though people don't think it's old, it's old. I don't like the fact I can't remember things. Like tomorrow I'll try to remember what I did, and it'll take me 2 days to remember I was on your show.
For real?
Yes.
Do you think about, 60 is still a long way away from the end, but do you think about the end?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yep. Because you can wake up, when you're 60, and you'll find this out, you wake up pretty much once a week going, oh, no! and that passes. That passes quickly.
And when you go to sleep at night, do you think, could be the last? Is that what you're saying?
No.
No, not yet.
I usually wake up in a sweat.
But you work that into your routine now, and I think a lot of people come to expect you to do a lot of political stuff on stage. What's it like for you to work that kind of personal stuff into your routine?
I've been doing a little more personal stuff because I'm really sick of it. You can only do so much with politics. There just comes a point where I'm going, how do you top this stuff? I mean, Sarah Palin for me was like, this is now surreal.
Yeah.
How do you can't make surreal funny. So it just seems to me that there's certain, I've always, in most of my comedies, I've tried to make it more about how it affects people personally, how politics affects you, so that these guys like the gay stuff or the Bible stuff and all that crap, and how really it affects, the people. And so this edition, and I've always tried to introduce myself. I've generally tried in my act, I don't talk about politics immediately because I've always been, from the very first, once I started to do this, was to try to sucker people in. So you go, see, weather, ha ha ha, weather, ha ha ha, weather, ha ha ha, fascists. So they kind of go, oh, weather, fascist, same.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the weather underground.
Yes,
right?
Very good.
Maybe there is some of that.
Very good.
So what's your act of green going to be, sir?
What's my act of green going to be?
You got one for us?
I'm going to hold a flower. And not squeeze it really hard.
Take that, nature.
Yeah. My act of green is, I actually have I don't really have. It's so bogus. I mean, I have a tour bus.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a carbon footprint that, I could ask, the entire audience couldn't cover the carbon footprint, I believe.
Get like a biodiesel bus or something.
No, because Willie Nelson had one. So I asked my driver, what about a biodiesel bus? And he said Willie Nelson finally gave it up because it was impossible to find, it's hard to find cooking fat.
It's America. It's everywhere.
I know it is, but they have to get the barrels, and I guess, but he stopped doing it because I would have done it.
In the commercial break, we're going to get an act of green. Are you ready to answer some 220 questions, by the way?
Yeah, that I'll do, but this act of green shit.
All right, we're going to ask Lewis about George Bush, Japanese game shows, and whether he's a Mick or Keith kind of guy. 220 with Lewis Black, and we come back.